We are going to take another look at boot verbs or stem changing verbs right now in Spanish. This one will be just a little bit more in depth than my previous video. In my other video on boot verbs, I covered words that where the E changes to an IE. For example, we looked at the verb preferir, which means to prefer, and then that E, the second E in preferir, changes to IE. So the yo form, for example, would be prefiero for I prefer. For this video, we're going to take a quick look at those verbs again, where the E changes to IE. We're also going to look at verbs where the E changes just to an I. I'm also going to show you a verb where the O can change to a UE. And I'll quickly review once again the verb jugar, where the U changes to UE. So 4 different kinds of boot verbs here we're going to look at. I'll ask you a question, at least one probably for each verb, to give you just a little bit of practice. And hopefully you remember the concept. If you don't, go ahead and take a look at my other video that goes a little bit more in depth into the concept of it. Here I'm assuming that you understand boot verbs, at least how they work. So first we'll just do a review of boot verbs where the E changes to IE. So first we'll look at the verb recomendar. The conjugations are as follows: recomiendo, recomiendas, recomienda, recomendamos, recomendáis, recomiendan. So remember, if you were to draw a boot around those ones where the E changes to IE, or a circle around those ones, it looks like a boot, hence boot verb. So the question for you for this here would be, ¿qué recomiendas para almuerzo? ¿Un taco o una enchilada? ¿Qué recomiendas para almuerzo? ¿Un taco o una enchilada? Yo recomiendo un taco. Yo recomiendo un taco. Una pregunta más con preferir. So preferir is to prefer. The conjugations would be: yo prefiero, tú prefieres, él o usted prefiere, nosotros preferimos, vosotros preferís, ellos, ellas, ustedes prefieren. La pregunta es: ¿prefiere tu amigo ir al cine o alquilar un video? ¿Prefiere tu amigo ir al cine o alquilar un video? Mi amigo prefiere ir al cine. Mi amigo prefiere ir al cine. So that's just a quick review for verbs where the E changes to IE. Let's take a look at a verb where the O changes to UE. This verb will be mostrar. Mostrar means to show. So if I want to say I show my art in the class, for example, this is the verb you're going to want to use. So why don't you take a second really quick and pause the video. Remember that mostrar, the O is going to change to a UE. So when you pause the video, jot it down really quick, make sure that you understand how it works, and then I'll put it up here on the screen for you. So the conjugations of mostrar are as follows: yo muestro, tú muestras, él, ella, usted muestra, nosotros mostramos, vosotros mostráis, ellos, ellas, ustedes muestran. And then let's also just take a quick look again at the verb jugar, which means to play. The U in jugar changes to UE. Just give yourself a second, pause the video, jot down the conjugation of jugar, see if you can get it correct. So the conjugation of jugar is juego, juegas, juega, jugamos, jugáis, juegan. I do have a previous video on this verb jugar and it's all by itself, so if you want to take a look at that verb, you can go back and do so. I'll just ask you one question with the verb jugar really quick, and just to make sure you got it. La pregunta es: ¿a qué deporte juega Kobe Bryant? ¿A qué deporte juega Kobe Bryant? Kobe juega al baloncesto. Kobe juega al baloncesto. So that's jugar, where the U changes to UE. Okay, so right now I'm going to give you 4 verbs that are also boot verbs, where the E will change to just an I rather than IE. So the verbs, 4 verbs that are boot verbs in this pattern are servir, pedir, competir, repetir. Now if you're asking yourself with that last one, repetir, well, there's 2 E's in the verb repetir, so which one do I change to an I? Just remember with boot verbs, it's always going to be the last one unless it's an ER verb. So if it were an ER verb, it wouldn't be that E, but since it's an IR verb, you don't have to worry about that. So on the verb repetir, the E that'll change to an I is that second E, the one after the P. So knowing that the verb servir means to serve, and the E changes to an I, take a second, jot it down. What would be the conjugation of servir in the present tense? the conjugations would be as follows. Yo sirvo, tú sirves, sirves, él, ella, usted sirve, sirve, nosotros servimos, servimos, vosotros servís, servís, ellos, ellas, ustedes sirven, sirven. Really quick, why don't you just conjugate the verb pedir for me as well. Pedir means to order, to ask for. The E changes to an I. Jot it down really quick. I'll just put it on the screen for you when you're done. So take 2 seconds and then look at the screen. And there's the verb pedir for you. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Just do one with the verb servir, and then we'll do 2 with the verb pedir. Pues pregunta 1 con el verbo servir es: ¿en tu restaurante favorito sirven la comida rápidamente o lentamente? ¿En tu restaurante favorito sirven la comida rápidamente o lentamente? En mi restaurante favorito sirven la comida rápidamente. Sirven la comida rápidamente. Pregunta 2 es con el verbo pedir. Pedir. Cuando tú vas a un restaurante mexicano, ¿pides un taco o una quesadilla? Cuando tú vas a un restaurante mexicano, ¿pides un taco o una quesadilla? Yo pido un taco. Yo pido un taco. Pregunta 3 es con el verbo pedir también. Pregunta 3. Cuando tú y tus amigos van a Starbucks, ¿piden ustedes un café o agua? ¿Piden café o agua? Nosotros pedimos un café. Nosotros pedimos un café. So just to recap really quick, remember that boot verbs, the whole idea of the boot is that you circle the ones where there's that change in the stem. So with the verb servir, pedir, competir, repetir, those are boot verbs where the E changes to IE. For the verb mostrar, the O will change to UE in those 4 places. For the verb jugar, the U will change to UE in the yo, tú, ella, usted, ellos, ellas, ustedes places. And then you also have boot verbs where the E changes to IE, like recomendar or preferir. There's a lot more of those ones as well if you want to check out my other video. So if you need any more help with this concept, just hit me up with a question and I'll get back to you.